Alright, today we are supposed to solve the three questions from SAT. These are reading and writing portion. These are from reading and writing portion. Okay, the very first question that we have to solve says Zach is perhaps best known for posting chaotic skibidi riz clips on TikTok. Now, what does skibidi riz means? Skibidi riz is an internet slang. Skibidi comes from a popular meme, or a song, whereas riz means charm. Okay, charm, but it's usually in an attractive way. Okay, but he also dedicated him to cringeology. Now here, cringeology is also a slang which means awkward, and sometimes it can also means, embarrassing. Okay, then we have a comma. The study of dash. Okay, more than 350 meme edits of the wildest trends and submitting his analysis of brain rot. Now, brain rot is is used when excessive exposure to something is there, and because of that exposure, someone feels mentally drained or obsessed. Right? Something that makes excess of something, excess of something that makes a person mentally drained. All right. So, more than 350 meme edits of the wildest trends and submitting his analysis of brain rot culture to his media studies club. Okay, which choice completes the text so that it conforms to the conventions of standard English. Here, conforms means, to comply with the rules, standards, or norms, right? Or which I would also say which best suits. Okay, let's go through the options. We have meme colon and then producing. We have meme full stop and then capital P producing. We have memes producing nothing, no pronunciation. We have memes comma and then producing. Now you see here we have a word, right? Cringeology. It tells us something. Geology or cringeology, it means that there is a domain, a whole domain which has to be there, right? And then we have a comma, the study of dash. So this comma or the study of dash is more telling us about the definition of this particular word, right? So for this thing, this is the best option that suits the study of memes, right? This is the definition of cringeology, comma, producing. Right? I read the sentence again. Zach is perhaps best known for posting chaotic skibidi riz clips on TikTok, comma, but he also dedicated him to cringeology, the study of memes, producing more than 350 meme edits of the wildest trends and submitting his analysis of brain rot culture to his media studies club. Okay, this was the first question from the ACT. Let's move on to the second one. As a biographer, sifted. Sifted here means to pass something through a, to separately or, to examine clearly, I would say. To go through something meticulously or examine carefully. As a biographer, sifted through the playwright's correspondence spanning 4 decades. Playwright is a person who writes plays for theater, right? She observed the gradual evolution. So you see, has been an evolution of his voice. Early letters dedicate youthful bravura. Radiate here means, it gives us an impression of or emits youthful bravura. Bravura can be said of, display of boldness, brilliance, or skill. But it says youthful. Okay, youthful bravura. Okay, whereas. Now you see it. We have a word whereas. Now you see it has been a bit different, right? Whereas the letter. You see the early and the latter ones, the years has been evolving, right? Initially they use the word youthful, which is, in a state of naive, or in a state, when something is developing, right? Okay, the letter one exude a dash confidence. So we are looking for a particular word that has to be positive, right? Because there has been a gradual evolution of his voice. Early letters radiate youthful bravura. Okay, and now there has been, whereas the letter one exude or gives us something good, and then we have confidence, comma, a calm certainty, right? So this letter these words tell us more about what we have to fill in the blank. A calm certainty born of hard-won experience. So you see, we are looking for a positive word here that fits with the sentence. We have some of the choices here that are 4 choices. The very first one is unilateral. Unilateral here means involving one side only, or I should also say done by one person. Uni means one, right? Done by one person. Okay, the second word is effervescent. Effervescent is, fizzy or bubbly. We can also call that as energetic. We are looking for a very composed word, that also depicts maturity. Perfect. We have desultory. Desultory means lacking of a plan or purpose or enthusiasm, lack of some main skills of plan, purpose, or enthusiasm. Okay, the last word is mayir, which is the word we are looking for. It is positive, and it also gives us a sense of, maturity. It doesn't mean maturity, but it does gives us a sense of maturity. Composedness. Whereas other words do not fit in with the sentence, right? I read out a sentence once again. As a biographer sifted through the playwright's correspondence spanning 4 decades, she observed a gradual evolution of his voice. Early letters radiate youthful bravura, whereas the latter one exude a mild confidence, a calm certainty born of hard-won experience. So the word for the blank is mild. Okay. The last question that we have to deal with now is this one. The following text has been adapted from 1913 journal kept by a mountaineer. So who's a mountaineer? A mountaineer is a person who climbs mountains as a sport or profession. Okay. Who climbs mountains? Okay. Helen Cartwright. By the time we reached the final camp, it's a camp, comma, the wind had scoured. Scoured is cleaned thoroughly. The wind has caught every loose particle from the ridge. Ridge is long, narrow, elevated land. Long, narrow, and elevated land. Okay, and our provisions were all but exhausted. So provisions here means, whatever the sources of food, equipment, or necessities were there, so they were all exhausted or, coming to an end. We husbanded what little kerosene remained. You see, everything is coming to an end, right? The provisions, I repeat myself, provisions are the supplies of food, equipment, or necessities. They were all coming to an end, full stop. The next sentence is, we husbanded what little kerosene remained. Okay, kerosene here means a flammable oil that is used as fuel. Okay, flammable oil used as fuel. Okay, we husbanded what little kerosene remained, filling the lamps only halfway and trusting moonlight to do the rest. So you see here, all the other provisions have been exhausted, but they are using kerosene very, 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 in a good way, and saving that with the help of the moonlight. So what are we supposed to find? As used in the passage, what does the word husbanded most nearly means? Okay, let's go through the words. Misused, something that has not been used carefully. This is something that cannot be the answer, because this is, the kerosene is something that has been husbanded, used carefully. That's what we can derive from the sentence. Celebrated is famous or renowned, well known for achievements, or something like that, something that we can celebrate for, or some like that. Estimated is what we have figured out or taken the average of. Conserved, it basically means protected, and also means preserved. So the last one, which is conserved, fits with whatever husbanded can most nearly mean, right? So A, B, and C cannot be the answer, whereas the D one is the answer for the last question. In this way, we have discussed 3 of the SAT questions, and I hope you understand. We'll do rest in the next class. Bye-bye.